Unser nächster Gast ist ein Bildungsaktivist, der für Bildung alles aufs Spiel gesetzt hat. Er ist ein vokaler Vertreter für Bildung für alle und hat dieses Prinzip sehr früh versucht, in Pakistan durchzusetzen. Er hat eine eigene Schule gegründet und hat es Mädchen ermöglicht, auf diese Schule zu gehen. Unter anderem seiner Tochter Malala. Dass sein Lebensweg nicht immer einfach war, werden wir gleich erfahren. Er wird uns heute von seinen Erfahrungen und Erkenntnissen berichten. A warm welcome for Ziauddin Yousafzai.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you, everyone. My name is Ziauddin Yousafzai, and when I introduce myself as the moderator introduced me, I'm one of the few fathers in the world who is known by his daughter, Malala's father, and I'm so proud of it. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Severin. Thank you, Gebhardt, the ex-CEO, who gave me a tour of the town. You are so rich in your history, is so rich. You are very blessed. And thank you to the choir. You sang very well. Million Dreams. I share your dreams. Thank you for singing. I feel so honored to be the part of this 10th anniversary of Teach for Austria. And I had a chance to meet the Teach for Austria fellows last night. I also visited a school where one of the fellows, Lara, is teaching. I met her students. And honestly, without any exaggeration, I was so impressed with the work of the Teach for Austria teachers and fellows in Vienna. Thank you to every fellow who is working for education in this country. I must congratulate every fellow of the Teach for Austria, because during my last night intimate conversation with them, I could feel the passion, the commitment, the conviction which they carry with them. Honestly, the developed countries, not just Austria, but many other countries as well in the West, education is taken for granted. Maybe the teachers and children are tired of it. I see Teach for Austria as replenishment to education system in this country. Refreshing the commitment, refreshing the passion. And when I met these some of these 500 fellows, some 80 fellows last night, I could feel from their conviction and commitment that it is contagious. So this will spread in the whole country, and it's very important that these 500 fellows, Teach for Austria, that has the fellows and they are working for education. They are not just 500 people, they are 500 leaders. They are 500 education activists. There are 500 campaigners. One leader matters. 500 is a lot. Well done, Walter. Well done. Well done. If I make my speech long, just come tell me, stop it. Tony shared with me, the CEO of Teach for Austria, that this year theme is Yes, das geht. It's the only word I understand in German. German is Greek for me, okay? So I also believe that Yes, das geht. And it explains my life story as well. When I born in the northwest of Pakistan, in a small village, in the bottom of beautiful mountains, and we were very rich in natural beauty and all blessings from God, but the culture that I found myself in that village was extremely patriarchal. I had 5 sisters and an older brother, and I could see 2 sets of parenthood under the same roof. I was served with better food, better clothes, more pair of shoes, because I was a boy. And my 5 sisters had not that privilege because they were girls. And the worst discrimination that my 5 sisters went through was their deprivation from education. While I was pursuing my dreams in a classroom, my 5 sisters stayed home, and they could not dream beyond becoming wives and mothers. That is why I always tell that in many patriarchal societies, women and girls, they die as if they were never born. So education is so important to me because I know its power. If I had been an uneducated boy of my village, I wouldn't have got those great opportunities in my life which I got through education. And if you ask me that what made me different, I will say education, education, and education. Education transformed me into the kind of person that I am. I every day try to be a better person. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. But education gave me values. It made my inner being beautiful. And that was the reason that I was very determined that my father was unable to give education to his daughters. If I'm a father, I will be a different father. I will believe in my daughter. I will educate her. And this was a paradigm shift in thinking. It's very much important that we change minds and hearts. And once you change, then you are able to change the environment. And I named my daughter after the Malala of Fund. Malala of Fund, she was an Afghan, like heroic girl of 17 years, who in the Second Anglo-Afghan War, while the fighters were fleeing, Afghan fighters were fleeing from the battlefield, this one girl who just climbed up a small hill and she taunted the fighters to come back. Otherwise, they will be living for a shameful day. They should fight for their freedom. Her voice was so important. And she was not known by her brother's name or by her father's name. Because in patriarchy, a girl name is even something private. When I used to take my mother to the doctor wrote on prescription, mother of Ziauddin Yousafzai. If my father took her, she was the wife of Ruhul Amin. It's my father's name. So I was very mindful of the invisibility of women and girls. That's why I named her after Malala Fund. And I remember that few weeks after when she was born, one of my cousins brought me the family tree. And when I looked at the family tree, they were all men. Fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers for 400 years. And what I did, I picked up my pen, drew a line, after my name and wrote Malala. That was sometime in life, your small actions, they bring big impact. And later in life, you know about our story, that was my passion about education. And I could see that my daughter will have a different future if she gets an education. Education is an emancipation. It is freedom for girls. So when Taliban in 2006 and 7, they banned girls' education and they bombed more than 400 schools, as they have banned right now in Afghanistan for the last 1 year. Girls in secondary school have been stopped from going to school. The same they did in the Swat Valley. Then I had to fight for the right of education. So from a teacher role, my role became as a fighter for the right of education. And I tell people that when your basic human rights are violated, then don't wait that you just become a victim. It is better to be a fighter than to be a victim. You should fight back. So I had to speak for the right of education. And in our family, in our home, in English they say like father, like son. Okay? But in our family, it was like father, like daughter. Malala inspired. Now she inspires me, but as a child, I inspired her. And she became a big campaigner for the right of education. And again, I want to share with these brilliant stars, young children who are there in the gathering, and with you all, that when your basic human rights are violated and when you are discriminated because of your color, because of your faith, or because of your ethnicity, you should be, or because of your gender, you should be the first person to speak up. Because your voice is the most powerful voice. So that is so important. It's good that some other people speak for you, welcome them, but you should be the first person. And that speaking came with a price. Taliban attacked Malala and they wanted to finish her. On 9 October 2012, as Walter mentioned, that the same year he launched Teach for Austria. It was a good coincidence. They attacked Malala. They wanted to finish her. They wanted to make me silent forever and to finish her. But we say that man proposes, God disposes. The girl who was speaking for 50,000 girls in the Swat Valley when Taliban prevented girls from going to school, the same girl is speaking for 130 million girls all around the world now. And some people ask me that, how do you look at, because on the 9th of October, it will be the 10th year of the tragic assassination attack on my daughter. And somebody asked me that, how do you feel after 10 years? I replied that in 10 years, in the last 10 years, we were able to establish the Malala Fund. And the Malala Fund is now working in 10 countries. From Brazil to Bangladesh, from Tanzania to Lebanon, we are working in 10 countries where the number of out-of-school girls is the highest. So that is our revenge. Sorry, the world is negative, but I believe in positive revenge. Positive revenge, that you just reply with the good things. If somebody comes with ignorance, somebody come and they torture you with ruthlessness, with cruelty, you go back with kindness, with knowledge, with education. So that is how, that is what we could do in the last 10 years. My speech is becoming long. I think so. But it was such an honor to be here. And as I told you that there are 130 million girls who are not in school. And in Afghanistan, as I mentioned, for the last 1 year, secondary school girls have been banned from school. So we all need to be mindful, like especially children here, that it's a privilege, it's a blessing, it's a right that they have schools. They are so lucky that they have great teachers, like Teach for Austria teachers. They have great, amazing buildings, state-of-the-art buildings. There are millions of children in the world who don't have access to the bare minimum of education. They just want to have a pen, a pencil, a notebook, a whiteboard or a blackboard, and just one teacher. Can you imagine that in this 21st century, in the second decade of this, or the third decade of 21st century, girls in Afghanistan hide their books and they go to schools secretly. It's unacceptable. We all need to speak against Taliban's coercion. We all need to stand for the right of education for every child in any corner of the world, because a threat to peace in any particular country is a threat to peace everywhere. A threat to education in any particular country is a threat to education in the neighboring countries. So thank you all once again. And I really enjoyed my time here very much. I had a tour of the town, all the great stories about the, like the emperors and kings was told by Gibbard. Huh? His name is so difficult. I should call him Big Heart, because he's so generous. And it was so lovely to meet people who are supporting Teach for Austria. Princess Tatiana is here with her daughter. I don't see her now, but she's here. She's one of the great supporters of the Teach for Austria. So thank you to everyone with resources who are generously supporting Teach for Austria. And I am the part of this family now. I feel like I'm the part of the Teach for Austria family. I'm a fellow in mission, fellow in the mission of education. And as Malala said in her UN speech, one fellow matters, one teacher matters, one leader matters. As she once said, one child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you again.